All right, I believe I am live now. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. In this live session on here on YouTube, I believe I'm on at the moment. Yep. I will be converting this Figma file that you see in front of you into an actual static web. The reason why I want to do this is I think it would be a good exercise to do because I haven't done it for a while. And secondly to that, my mic, sorry about that. Secondly to that, I want to be able to demonstrate some of this on my portfolio. So, yeah, hopefully you can learn as we go along. I'm going to learn a few things as well. It's been a while since I've done this, but yeah, let's get straight into it. So, what I've done is I've actually grabbed all of the content that's on this document, or both the mobile and desktop views, and for the most part, I've ported it over to a web page where I've just written out the HTML. Right? The HTML looks a little bit like this, so it kind of goes up to the top. We've got our doc type, we've got our HTML head, our title in it, we've got our viewport, all that kind of stuff to make sure it will work on mobile. Then we've got our heading here with our navigation menu, the page title, a little input, and a browse icon. That stuff there represents basically this top section up here, part here, this. Then we've got our little hero section, so that's the next piece that I've written. And I wanted to do this ahead of time because it takes a while to break it all down, but it's also the most boringest part. So there's our section that represents our hero. So we've got some buttons, got our social media links. If you look on these buttons here and these social media links, you got the title and a description there. Title, yeah, description there. And then if I scroll down, we've got an aside, which has two links in it. That's really just to represent these two links down here. This image will be a background image. I'm going to import it all like part of the design. But to start with, I just left it out. And then we've got the next section, which is basically a title and some links again. Again, this will be a background image. HTML for that. There's our heading and there's our links. That's that section covered. That was the sections markup. Then we've got the Jane Wilson Gaming Creator section. That's this right here. Got this and text, the call to action button. Then we're just going to bunch of divs that represent these boxes, and then and that represents views. And this picture right here is also going to be a background image. Um, it probably could have been an inline image, but because of the fact that this image will change over time, I wanted to keep it as a simple background image because it's easy to do via media queries. So that represents stuff here, title, your paragraph, the five little divs which will have images against them. That's that section. Then we've got the top games section. So that represents basically this bit here. Here, the little message, these buttons, and this list. Header, the information, the buttons associated to them. What I'm calling articles. They're game titles and shared across the site. No issues. Articles. So that's that section. And then we've got the FAQ. All right. So basically, it's an accordion. I'm representing it as a list of divs, or multiple divs with a question and answer in it. So you'll see down here that we have a div with the question and then div answer. It's on the same LI. And I'm doing it over and over. Now, some of them say I don't know what it's meant to say here. Look in the sign, it's actually closed. So we'll do a little bit of JavaScript, CSS. Probably, actually, we'll start with CSS just to establish some to be closed by default, others to be open. That's that bit. Then if we scroll down, we've got the footer, right? So that's the last piece down here. And I haven't written the markup for that yet. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do the footer later, but essentially the footer is really pretty simple piece. It's just stuff down here. Cool. Now, I'm not going to start on the web view. I'm going to start my CSS on the mobile view. So we're going to start with this top part. So first thing I need to do is I need to work out what can still be shown. We know the heading can be shown. We know that the navigation will be hidden on mobile and it'll be replaced with a hamburger menu. And we know that the browse icon will remain there, but this import will be removed and only this little icon here will be in its place. So a couple of DOM things are going to need to change immediately. I'm going to need to create a div for the hamburger menu. So what you normally do, I think, is in HTML, I want to hide something from a screen reader, which the hamburger menu is one of those things. I want it to read the normal menu. Hide an element to screen readers and child elements. Simply add the aria hidden nickel. Right. This is what we're going to use to hide the hamburger menu. So coming back to the top, what I have is the regular nav, right? But that's going to be hidden by default. So what I'm going to have next to that div, I'm going to add that aria hidden is true. This will be our hamburger menu. I'll come back to that sign soon. And then also going to add another link here for search names, right? So this one will just search.svg, which I haven't downloaded yet. Yep. Images icon search.svg. So I'm going to come back to my Figma, grab that search icon that's over here. I'm going to export that. And here, as an SVG file. And for whatever reason, it comes as a zip, but that's okay. It'll go to my downloads folder. Downloads, there it is. I open it up. Whoop, I should extract it all first. Extract all. Yep, same folder. All right, search. Yep, that's the one I want. Get out my code. Basically, going to there. CSS. That. And that should, in theory, show the search icon on. But it might be in white color. So we. Oh no, you do see it. It's right there. That's it right there. Now we know it's by design. We've got the hamburger menu, we've got our regular menu, title, we've got the input, and we've got these two icons. Cool. Right. Okay. So what we need to do now is we need to start working out what we want to do CSS wise. The first thing I normally do with CSS, well, I just put a CSS there. Go styles, CSS, add document, sheet. If people are wondering why I'm doing this the old conventional way, it's because sometimes it's good to just take a step back and do things the old fashioned way, because everything else you ever work on will always be an extension of this anyway. The better you are at the fundamentals, the easier it is to pick up all the frameworks, because the frameworks are only ever wrappers over the top of the underlying technology in the first place. That's why I like to do things in a primitive fashion. It's just good. It's good to learn. Doesn't mean I don't know React. It doesn't mean I don't know Angular. It doesn't mean that I don't know, how to write something on the server. Of course I do. But, it's good to always go back to where you can, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Anyway, I'm getting off tangent there. I've added my CSS file, and the first thing I usually like to do, I like to add star, and I like to set the margin of everything on the screen, the padding of everything on the screen, and the box sizing of everything on the screen for the box. So this is like a very simple reset. So what it's telling me, or what it tells you, is whatever the default margins and paddings are for all the items in your browser, ignore them and set them all to 0. Because different browsers use different types of padding, different browsers use different types of margin. And with box sizing, I just like the idea that if I set something to 100 pixels, that's what it should be. Not it's 100 pixels, but then there's padding on top of it, so it's now 150. Yeah, none of that. Just if I say I want it to be 100 pixels wide, it will be 100 pixels wide. So by doing this, hopefully now you'll see that a lot of spacing being removed. So you'll see it's all squashed up. But right now, just comment this out for a second. Go back. You'll see all this spacing's back in, like there's spacing here, here. Yeah, all right. So I'm alleviating that with this. Go back and check. And now all that spacing's gone. Everything's squashed up together. That's what I want. Because I want to be able to control these as I feel based on what the design is giving me. Right. All right. So now we know that we want the hamburger menu to appear. We want the title to appear by default. And we want these two icons, which leaves us with this input not being there by default and the navigation menu being there by default. So basically, have. They're the two things we want to go straight away. As you can see, this navigation's here and the input is here. Right, so let's do those. I'm going to start with mobile first. Right. So I know it's in the body/header. And I like to use child selectors because when you use descendant selectors, sometimes you get caught up with things being inside of deeper down in the tree. So once I'm inside the body's header, though, I'm pretty comfortable. I control what's inside that header. So then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to grab the nav, which has an ID of primary nav. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to have a secondary nav, which is the hamburger menu. So before I go too far, go into my nav. I'm going to see this here. So ID equals primary nav. Give me an ID so I can access it. I'm going to set the display on this to none. So that's the first step, right? We know we're going to need it once we get to a higher level. But to begin with, we don't want it on the screen. We're going to be using the hamburger menu. Cool. All right. So see now it's missing. Right, we've still got hamburger menu up here, which is all fine. All good from that perspective. Now let's hide the input as well. So I don't know if I want to give the search. I think I'm just going to hide the form that's associated because input is there is a form element here. So next line, or I could just join this up and go body header form. That should hide the form as well. That now the input's gone. Right, so this is the menu I want to start with. Cool. So now we're going to look at our mobile and we're going to see that the heading is really just one bar at the top. This is where I'm going to utilize Flexbox and set everything accordingly on the screen here. Now, these two things have a different spacing to everything else. I believe that the spacing between this and this is probably the same as between, no, maybe not quite. The other thing I'm going to do is also acknowledge that there's spacing here and there's spacing that and that. What I think I'm going to do is put the edge. Why is that not 120? I believe that's 24. So I believe the heading's going to have 24 padding around. So let's start off with, now we're going to go even before, I'm going to target just the header. The header is what everything's inside of, right? I'm going to set the display to flex so everything goes left to right. And I'm going to set the padding all the way around it to 24 pixels. If I take a look at what we've got now, now you can see it's all lining up this. Now I'm going to put this into mobile view so we know what we're dealing with. Mobile design I will use as a Pixel 5. So now we're in a mobile situation. And what I want to do is I want to add some space between the hamburger menu, the title, and then these two buttons. So I'm gonna aggregate together. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna put a div around those two icons. The reason why I'm gonna do that is because I want a higher level element to work with these other sets of elements here. See what I mean in them? Because what I'm gonna do is now go justify content space between, save. Now we've got the same space between everything here. Right. Now I'm going to change this thing and not have it say hamburger menu because it's taking up too much space. So at this stage, I'm now going to grab the hamburger menu here and I'm going to export it as an SVG. All right, so I'm going to grab that. Go to my downloads, grab the menu. Menu.svg, cool. So I might implement the hamburger menu at a time, but I'm going to add an image source equals this slash icon slash menu. Alt will be menu. So else go and save. And if we take a look now, we get it empty. This might be a good time where I now go, cool. I want to be able to see the hamburger menu. Let's think of what the default background needs to be here. And I believe that's going to be a dark color, like this color here. So let's grab this color. And my styles at the very top, or even the star, I'm going to use a special thing called root. It allows us to define all colors ahead of time. I'm going to say dark. Not too sure about the naming convention stage because I didn't write the theme. For the body, or even the HTML, right? The HTML, say background equal to that color there. Like that. Now, what that should do, now I can see the hamburger ball, right? So already it's starting to look a little bit better. But sorry, looking a little bit better than what we had. Obviously, everything's all still messed up, but that's all right. We're gonna get to it. So the hamburger menu looks like it's good size. Sometimes you shouldn't rely upon it being the right size. So if it is 24 by 24, I'm going to enforce that anyway. So it's not the only image in the background. So I need to give it and just targeting it correctly. Put IDs, hamburger, menu. And you don't necessarily need to do this, but I always feel like it's just better if you do it. Next step, hamburger menu, and this will width of 20 pixels, height, and that just enforces that it's going to be okay. The other thing I noticed too is that not everything aligned correctly. See how that's kind of everything is up the top. So I just need to set align items on the header. I need to set that. No? That will align all children the middle of component, which now you can see they're in the middle. Right? Now we need to look at the title, and then I'll come back to this. So the title, well, there's there's lots of things going on here. It's using a font family called Sarpanch. So I'm going to look for the web font for that. Sarpanch. Hopefully there's a Google font for that, but there is. Whereas disregard, blah, 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 blah. All right, so what we then need to do is go, okay, I need the what weight? 700 weight. So I'm going to target the 700 weight down here, bold. I'm going to choose that. And then for the moment, I'm going to grab all this and paste it before my CSS. Okay. That allows me now to work out. Well, firstly, I should check out what the default uh well, that's Satoshi, that's Satoshi, that's Satoshi. Next here, Satoshi. Some of it's Satoshi variable. It looks like a lot of it is Satoshi variable. Follow us. That's Satoshi. So we're looking at mostly at Satoshi here, right? It's just the title that is a different one. So we now can literally from this thing here, we've got the typography for the whole thing. I can do something like this. I can copy. It's a good thing about Figma, right? I can copy that, and then I want to target the header. That would be body header. Target the H1 that's inside there. And we got all this, right? Now I'll come back to some of this font sizing and styles in a second. I just want to see how that comes out. That's kind of what we've got, right? So it's similar to what we have here, but not quite. Because this bit white. But thing is, I'm specifying the font size pixels, and I like to use rem units. I like to use rem units because I like to make sure that all my elements are relative to a default size. So if I ever want to change the default size, I can. So normally what I do is on the HTML element, I set the default font size to 10 pixels. Right? What that will do is come into here, see everything's shrunk, right, down to 10 pixels, and then the headings have shrunk relative to the default font, right? But then I like to come to my body element, and I like to set that to have a font size of 16 pixels, but I specify it in rem units. This is just something I like to do. It makes me comfortable. So then what happens is later on, if I want to change that to say 2 rem, I can, right? So at the moment you can see it's at 16 pixels now. The way I can show that is if I click on this, go to computed and look up font size. you'll see it says 16 pixels. And that's what it was before, even when I took all this out. So if I go back and I clear that, clear this, uh, save, you'll see it'll still have 16 pixels. But the difference is, in this situation, the browser's defining it, right? And I don't want the browser to define it because different browsers will set different font sizes by default. And I want to make sure that it's always 16. Now, some people would argue, oh, you should really let the person who's using your site determine the size of it and all that. But with good design, it's not easy to allow people just to resize text. If you want the ability to have a site that just allows you to resize text at a whim, the design's going to be pretty boring. That's just what I've seen in the past. So, all right, I've restricted it to 16. Now what I can do is I can come down to where my heading is, and I know by default to have a font style of normal. Line height, I'm not sure why it says normal, but we'll take it out. Font weight, I'm keeping 700. Font family, I'm having Sarpanch. And the color, I'm going to set as heading blue. Up here is a variable. So heading light blue. That. And it's become bar. Heading light blue. Font family, Sarpanch. Font size. Because now I'm going to keep in mind that the rem units are relative to 10 pixels. So 20 pixel would be 2 rem. Font weight 700. What we just did. Now let's take a look. And cool. We've got everything the way it was before. But for the title, we needed some of it to be white. If we look, the word gaze needed to be white. So what I'm going to do with that, come into my HTML, leave it as that there. But then in here, I'm going to add a span class white text. Gaze right there. That won't do anything right now, but add a class selector. Usually I add class selectors after them in element selectors up here. Color to say white for the minute. And it is good. Now, what is this color specifically? It is, in fact, white, and everything is the same outside of that one above. Cool. All right. So let's convert that white to a variable. White. Now, here's the thing, though. We could do it that way, or we could look at the design and realize that most of the text on this site is white anyway. All right. So the better outcome might be to do something like this. Get rid of the white text class. Do something like this. Light blue text. I'll explain in a minute what I'm doing here. I'm going to change this to light blue text. Light heading light blue. Get rid of the text. Now this is going to look a little weird because it's going to go back to it didn't work. Did text. But sometimes you make mistakes, people. Ah, of course. Not actually branding the word hollow. But gaze. Sorry, not gaze, the period. Now I'll check it. Yeah. Now it's black, right? But I'm going to come up to my body. I'm now going to set the color, right, to white text. Oops, not bar, dash dash bar, dash dash white text. Pull it. This will be hash FFF. Now we're talking. See, now the title looks pretty good. So we're getting closer to our design here, right? If we go back up, we're very close to the design. Maybe font isn't quite right. Have a look. So font size is 20 pixels. Font family is Subpanch. That looks like it's being adopted based on the fact that hello here. Font weight 700. I think that's correct. All right. Keep in mind that sometimes sizing and all that makes a difference here. I think we're in a good position to move on from that. Now we just need to focus on these two buttons. Right. So we're focused on this. Now we just need to put the space in between icons. Cool. So I'm going to add a span between the two. So scroll down to where my oh no, I don't have to do that. I just have to put ID equals mobile. Hang on. I gotta be careful about. Oh no, this will work. Action buttons. Keep it simple first, right? So header action. They really action something. Now if I come to header action button, what I'm gonna do is set the display of flex. Then I'm gonna set a column gap. Column gap I'm gonna specify gap between these two icons in the zone. So let's have a look. It's 24 pixels. Bang. Now if I check, now that looks pretty similar to what we have here. Very similar. In fact, I'd say it's almost the same. And you're never going to get 100% the same, right? You can do the best you can, but at the end of the day, find that never get it. Now, next thing is the text, right? This text, the font of it is not matching the font of this. That's because this is using a Satoshi variable, right? So now we need to go to Google Fonts and search for Satoshi variable. Enter. Clear my filters and start again. Okay. Go Satoshi variable font. Web. Don't tell me. I didn't look this up, did I? Don't tell me this is going to be one that costs money. Ah, this is not ideal. I don't care if no. Might have to go with list of variable. Can I download the file? from font share. So what are we looking at here? Let's have a look at some of this stuff, all right? We need Satoshi variable, font weight, 500, not italic. I guess it's the same style regardless of weight. Get thicker. That. So add that style. Start with that for the moment. All right, free font license. This one can. Okay. Apparently, there are two types of font. Right, yeah. Sent me something. Looks like it might have sent me the whole font set. Have a look with the OTF files. All right, so it's all local. That's fine. We can still work with it. Um, it's free. That's all that matters. Check the license again just to be sure. Yeah, cool. All right. So we can use it. Double checking. Well, that's yeah, because I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be using the variable one. Let's grab those. Open up a new folder called fonts. Okay. And go through because I didn't unzip it. Extract files from there. Read them. Come on, hurry up. Need. That's what we're going to have. Huh? And just as a quick reference, much web s. Oh, hang on. F as well. And EOT. And WAF. WAF too. Interesting. All right. Maybe I grabbed the wrong ones. Oh, I think I grabbed the two. Yeah, hang on. I know what I've done. Uh, I don't need the italic, I don't think. Place. Okay. That one. Cool. All right. Now let's have a quick look at how it's importing it. Think above the root. We're going to font style swap. I don't know if the URL is correct and it will work, but I think I'd rather use dash dash font. Sorry, slash fonts. Then by default for the body file, light. Yeah, that's all there is in there. Oh, all I need to do is set this body. I'll just set font family to Satoshi variable. If I've done everything right, what I should see is a different font. But we did get that different font. There it is, Satoshi variable. But it's working. Beautiful. Nice, nice, nice. Now we can start messing around with the headings and stuff. Other sections. Oops. Cute. Right. Okay. So between this and let's say the bottom of this, got 36, right? We still got the 24 on the outside here. So let's focus on this piece of text. We have this amount of stuff going in here, right? So it's an RGBA, blah, blah, blah. So this piece of text here, I believe in my DOM, it's part of header. The header's done. Part of this section. So I give this section an ID and I'm going to call it virtual headsets section. Everything from here will be also that quick. No, we don't need that because that's oh did added all that. Hasn't added the color. RGBA. Oh, interesting. Ah, because I made everything in that section done. Oh, I need to target. I'd say technically a header. Target the child header and then the child div. Child header. Need to add the padding. All the sections, I believe. So let's add a generic header for a generic main section for the headset section. Oh, have I gone offline? No, it's just excellent connection. Adding 24 pixels like so, and that should add pixels way around. Supposed to have round, but I think what I wanted to have 0 and 24. Keep it as that. Wondering if I can have a top and bottom padding as well. Have it go less. 32 there. That is going to be. Maybe we'll go 12 and 24 for now. We may need to tweak, make sure that applied something like it did. For all images at the moment, nah, leave it, leave it. I want to add CSS that I have later. What time is it? 11 o'clock. How long have I been streaming for? How long have I been streaming for? Where's the timer on this thing? 47 minutes. Okay, cool. Not very long at all. I thought I'd been streaming longer than that, but clearly not. This has been on for an hour and 53 minutes, so I don't know what's going on. Nah, it's going to be an hour and 53 minutes. It feels like I've been 2 hours, not 47 minutes. I'm just checking my Visual Studio here. Let's have a look at content. Live content. Okay. Not too sure. Maybe it might tell me if I go to the actual. Nope. No good. Weird one. Never mind. All right. Not too sure what's going on there. I'm pretty sure it's more than 48 minutes. Pretty sure I'm more like an hour and or nearly 2 hours. No, actually, that's not quite right. That means I would have had to have started at 9:30. Let's start at 9:30. I don't know. Anyway, I'm moving on. Um, the point is, I'll be finishing up at around about 1 o'clock, because I need to have a life. All right, so we're now going to come into this first part. There's a little line there. I'm not sure how I'm going to implement that line because it's a bit fadey on both sides. That looks like it might be a linear gradient that they've tried. They've done it with a linear gradient. So let's try this right here. They're saying background is a linear gradient. So they've added an element that's 1 pixel high, 150 pixels wide. How am I gonna, basically they've added another div, empty. I don't want a space there. ID of this, is this a common thing in the design? Yeah, I need to add it as a class, not an ID. One there. So it's a one. What about in the page design? Therefore, books, 1p. All right, cool. That's the case. Need to add a div. See? Virtual subtitle line. No, oh yeah, I need to fix it up. So we don't need normal for that. We don't need normal for that. We need the 500. We need the less spacing. We need text transform. I'm going to convert this to 1.4 REM. I'm starting to think now. This, give this that. Makes it a little bit. All right. Uh, right. That. And the height of this is 100, 1 pixel. The width. But background for now as red. See if I can see it. What was it? What is it? 150. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Grab this linear gradient. We'll just make sure this works. So many gradients. Oh, yeah, it does. Good. Is it that close to it, or is it a little bit gap between text? Bit of a gap there in there. That's right. 6. Margin top. Say 8 pixels. Beautiful. 7. I gave 8. I think better and cleaner. Yeah. Oh, I've had a view. Hey, somebody actually watched my video. All right. Next step is to get all the stuff in. 20 degrees, 1. Dark purple. If that's 0, then isn't that the same as black? So dark purple gradient. 1890255. Yep, goes as well. The whole percentage. Um, rated 1. There it is. All right. Need to assign all that so I can get that all up and working. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Now we're down to the next step is need to add the heading, style the heading. Grab that. Heading is a H2. Just to REM. 700. I like to convert line height to rem units too. That'd be 5, 8 REM. Spacing you can is. Clear spacing. All right, let's check that out. So it is carrying over. Is it 44 pixels? Ah, not targeting it correctly. Header. Oh, yeah, it should. Get now. Virtual headset section. Headsets or headset? That's. Yeah, that looks more connectamundo. Is 36 pixels margin top. Oh, bang. Nice. That looks pretty cool. Experience a new dimension of reality. Experience a new dimension of reality. In this case, the text is a bit bigger than it thought it would be. Apparently, it's correct. Both in color. All right, next piece. Getting down into the nitty gritty here. We got a little description thing. A step into the future with our virtual headset. Blah blah blah. Now, that regular text. This text is different. Why is it going back to? Oh, this is those two variables though. All right, I'm gonna take a little break, guys. I just need a 5 minute break. My brain is starting to fry a little bit. Yeah, I just need. I'll be back shortly. Okie dokie. Sorry about that. I am now back again. What was I? Oh, sorry. I was working on the title. Title? Title was good. Now we're down into. I think I was just trying to gather whether this text is big or same across the board, but I think I was trying to work by the font. Yeah, but smaller, smaller sizes, messing it up a bit. I mean, and this one, I've got a 255 faded white done. Sure. That's the text below. Also need some spacing. Two. Nice. Now the thing has this little star thing. Uh, so yeah, take a quick look at that. Yep. Play, flex. Items. Uh, there, that looks like there. Ah, there we go. Good. Moving down. So the next step is explore and explore both anchors and all the buttons the same size, or width overall? That is how big, how wide. Tell me how wide it is. 192. Right. That's fine. All right. So these are these buttons. What we need to provide a button, a div around the buttons. Div ID equals virtual. Action. Action. So will allow me to add. Why is it not? Ah, because I'm 24. Do that for a second. Are they actually? The the 248. What is? Ah, next to each other. Row gap. See, it's on. Do that to the. Now it's gonna play flex just by content line items, gap 12. I don't think I've never actually checked the station on this. Like to remove a Hmm. Sometimes I forget to talk. There's nobody in here. Trying to work out what I might do. Oh wait a minute. What's this? Not that's the header. I have a gut feel though. What I'm gonna do? Yeah, everything from okay. So there's something wrong with the action. Where's it going? That's not this. If I don't use flex, justify combat. I don't use justify combat. I don't use flex or combat. Back to header. Yeah, let's delete the thing. Hmm. The hamburger menu. I don't know what I'm doing here. I think what that means is that even though I just came back from a break, might need a longer break to think. Flex have to mean that the body is. When does it actually fit? Fit there. The H1 and What have I done wrong? Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Out further than it should. Eight 40. All right, I'm done. I'm gonna take a break. I will bring this back maybe another time in the near. So if you came in or gonna watch this video later, watching, leave a comment, subscribe as well for my future live streams, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.